Now, ladies and gentlemen, more of the greatest talk on earth.
And the diversity just keeps on coming.
Your superstation, AM 1050, News Talk KCAA.
It's time for the KCAA Morning Show, featuring Paul Lane, Aaron Brinker, and John Watanabe. James, do you know what day of the week this is?
I don't know.
Well, today is...
Thank God it's... Thank God it's...
Is Say with me, gang.
Yes, it is.
Welcome this morning to the KCAA Morning Show. I'm Paul Lane. You can call me the black guy in the wheelchair. Aaron Brinker's in the house. John Watanabe is too, and John did his impression of our own sports play-by-play guy, Brett Malik. John has like a little bit of a Brett Malik fetish, so we're going to get him some help one day, aren't we, Aaron?
Well, yeah, he needs it.
Well, yeah, just the same way our local sports guy, Brett Malik, has a James Brown fetish, I guess.
I don't know, but I do know this. Too much fun today we're having, guys. I got a great show planned. We're going to be joined by here shortly by author extraordinaire, the great one himself, Dean Koontz. He's going to talk about his new, latest thriller. You don't want to miss that coming up. We also have a great local guest joining us in our last segment, too, to talk about a workshop happening as well, too. But we got to say good morning to the rest of the crew. Aaron Brinker, how you doing?
It is a beautiful, beautiful morning.
Per usual, as you always say.
I hope that never gets old, because, I mean, every day is a gift, and, it actually is really nice outside this morning.
Definitely, it sure is. And guess what, guys?
Gee, what?
We're an hour away of me receiving my brand new wheelchair. It is the Cadillac of wheelchairs. I'm going to post it on my KCAA Facebook page. I'm going to post it on the KCAA Twitter so everybody can see my new ride. What do you think about that, John?
So, well, Paul, will it have that fresh new wheelchair smell?
Oh, yes, it will. Yes, it will. And I'm thinking about going and putting OnStar on it, too. Yeah.
There you go. So you can get directions, and if you get a flat tire, somebody knows right away and can help you.
You got it. You got it. John Watanabe, what's going on?
Wow, when Raymond Burr played a guy in a wheelchair on Ironside, I don't think he had a guy changing his tires. So, boy, you haven't made, Paul. You haven't made. Wow.
Made in the shade. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Well, before we talk to our very special guest, top O of the morning to you, Ms. Brinker, and to you, Paul Lane, P-Dog, if you will. Before we carry on, it's that time of morning when I give you a little bit of daily trivia and tell you how it relates to our very own KCAA radio family. So, here goes. It was back on this day, January 6th, in the year 1976, when media mogul Ted Turner bought the Atlanta Braves baseball team for $12 million. Back on this day in 1976, and it's become a very important part of his superstation TBS. And I just thought I'd mention this moment in sports history because, speaking of sports, we are your radio home for Cal State San Bernardino Coyotes basketball. And today and tomorrow will feature double headers, both starting at 5:30 p.m. Today, the Coyotes will face Chico State in Chico, and tomorrow on Saturday, Cal State will face Cal State Stanislaus in Turlock. And doing the play-by-play, our very own Brett Malik and Mitch McClellan. They'll describe all the action for you. So if you don't want to drive all the way north, we'll carry all the exciting action right here on your home for Cal State San Bernardino Coyotes basketball today and tomorrow, starting at 5:30 p.m. right here on KCAA.
Thank you so much, John. I am so thrilled to have our next guest. I mean, I'm like a little kid at Disneyland. Joining us right now on the KCAA Morning Show, yes, the one, the only, New York Times best-selling author many times over, Dean Koontz. Dean, welcome to the KCAA Morning Show.
Well, thanks for having me there. I'll try not to embarrass myself.
We do it all the time, so you'll fit right in.
Yeah, we sure will. Now, Dean, your latest thriller, 77 Shadow Street. I mean, I've seen the commercials on TV, seen everything. It looks like a great read. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's about a bad house that was built in 1890. It's a 60,000 square foot Beaux Arts palace, and in 1973 it was remodeled into apartments. What nobody seems to have figured out yet is that every 38 years something really horrendous happens to some people in that house. And we're now at 2011, and it's 38 years, and it's about to happen again. I want to try a bad house novel that wasn't about ghosts or hauntings or something else that you're familiar with. This one is very different. There's something much worse than ghosts in it.
Oh, no, that sounds really scary.
Is it a mother-in-law? Is it a mother-in-law, Dean?
No, I can't go that far. That's just too scary.
Or a ghost of a mother-in-law. That's really scary.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I'm looking at your website right now. Even your website is scary for the 77shadowstreet.com. And it says you're about to enter the world of the Pendleton, a Gilded Age palace built in the late 1800s. And it goes on to talk about the house. So, what's the scariest part of your book? If you don't want to, unless you don't want to reveal on the radio.
Well, it's I'll review. But by the way, my publisher did a great thing with that 77shadowstreet.com. You actually can go in and tour the rooms, 360-degree immersive experience, and see the rooms, some of the rooms in the novel, and certain things will suddenly happen in those rooms. And it's kind of fascinating where the technology takes us. But the idea for this came, I was reading an article. I thought I was in leisure time, but it turned out this article gave me the idea for this novel. There's a movement in science called the transhuman or post-human movement, and scientists believe that the day is coming when we'll be able to replace our blood with more effective artificial blood, and we'll be able to inject little nano machines into our brain to make us smarter. And I read this article, and it's all reasonable people, and they sound very serious about what they're talking about, but I noticed that none of them ever has mentioned any possibility that anything could go wrong with this science, and I could think by the end of the article of 1,286 things that could go very, very wrong. So I picked one of them, and that's what the novel's based around.
That is so awesome. If you're just tuning in to the KCAA Morning Show, I'm Paul Lane with Aaron Brinker, and our sensei in the booth is John Watanabe. We're talking to right now New York Times best-selling author many times over, Dean Koontz, talking about his new book, latest thriller, 77 Shadow Street. Now, Dean, now looking at some of the things in this book, each passing hour, a terrifying certainty grows. You know, Dean, I can just imagine reading this book and just feeling like the hairs on the back of my head, the little I have left, just standing up, just waiting in anticipation. Is that a correct observation of this?
Well, it would sound a little egomaniacal if I said it's the scariest book you ever read. But it seems to be pretty scary based on what readers' responses are to it. And you know, if the day comes when I don't put up those remaining hairs in the back of your head, then I'm going to have to learn some honest work like plumbing.
Well, I can read what others are saying. It says, USA Today says, Koontz is a superb plotter and wordsmith. He chronicles the hopes and fears of our time in broad strokes and fine detail, using popular fiction to explore the human condition, and demonstrating the real horror of life is not found in monsters, but within the human psyche. Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had to pay a lot for that review.
And then, you know, speaking of your inspiration when it comes to you writing certain novels and everything, what do you look to get various inspirations? Because what you do it well, and it's just awesome the way that you do it.
Well, the inspiration comes from all kind of places, sometimes from that magazine article. Sometimes you don't know where it comes from. I can be sitting here, I wrote a book called Odd Thomas, and that book, I was working on another, and in the middle of that book, this line came into my head, "My name is Odd Thomas, I lead an unusual life." And I realized it was the start of a novel, and I turned to write it down so I didn't forget it, but I had no idea where it came from. The next thing I knew, I'd written an entire first chapter by hand, and I never write by hand. So I finished the novel I was working on and turned to that, and Odd Thomas just flowed right out of me, and I have no idea where the inspiration came from. And those are the ones that are the most fun, and also the most sort of magical and strange. Life is very magical and strange, and when you get an idea and it seems to be beamed into your head, maybe because I wasn't wearing my tinfoil hat that day.
Well, do your stories ever scare you?
You know, I'm asked that, but once in a great while something can scare me. I was writing some scenes in Intensity that got to me, but mostly not. Mostly, though, when I'm writing and something funny, a character says something funny, I can laugh out loud at it as if there's a real person telling it to me and I'm not actually writing it. Or if there's a very emotional scene with the loss of a character or something, I can actually end up crying. So people going by my office will hear me laughing, crying. And, you know, they're just wondering how long the institution will be before I'm put in there. But,
well, Dean, the fact that some ideas pop up in your head and you don't know where they came from, I think that's pretty scary, you know?
No, not at all. And Dean, our entertainment reporter, Aaron Sanchez, he couldn't be with us today on the air, but he sent me a text message right now during the interview, and I'm going to get on him for doing that. But Dean, he had a question for you. His question was, one of his favorite books by you is By the Light of the Moon. And he was wondering what was your inspiration behind it, and will there be a sequel?
Yeah, you know, that's a book I get asked for a sequel a lot because it's open-ended, and it resolves the story, but it does give you somewhere to go. I'm trying to think where the idea for that came to me. I wanted to write about, because my wife and I work with Canine Companions for Independence, which produces a lot of assistance dogs. And so they started producing assistance dogs some years ago also for people with, children basically, with autism. And the dogs had a profound effect on it, and I got to be familiar with autism that way. And I wanted to write a character who had a particular form of autism. And I wanted to write the story using that character, and it became sort of one of the co-leads of the book. And I think that's where the inspiration for that one came from. And the book became a story about the love between two brothers, one who's autistic and one who isn't. And then some very strange things happen to him, of course, because it's a Koontz novel, and if something strange doesn't happen to him, you know, I'm not going to get my paycheck from the publisher. But
well, let me ask you this. Do you ever find, I mean, I suppose it's kind of like you're living with these characters while you're writing. Do you find when you finish the book that you miss them?
Sometimes, very much, yeah. You regret tying the book up. I wrote a book called Life Expectancy, it's a suspense novel, but it's also a comic novel, and I just loved the characters so much that when I got to the end, I thought, this one's hard to let go of. And one of my favorite characters ever, Odd Thomas, I'm now writing the 5th book about. And so some of them you may like so much you just don't let go of them.
And then we get more books. It's lucky for us.
Yeah. And we get to interview him, too. So joining us right now on the KCA Morning Show, if you just tune in, we're talking to author extraordinaire Dean Koontz. He's talking to us about his brand new thriller, 77 Shadow Street. And Dean, we know you live in Southern California. You have a beautiful wife, and you also have a golden retriever. How do they help out when it comes to your creativeness?
Well, the first golden we had was the first dog I ever had, and she was Trixie, and I just fell in love with her so much, we both did, that she made me see the world in a different way. And I wrote a whole book about her called A Big Little Life, and part of that book is about how she changed what I wrote and how I viewed life, and made very profound changes in me. And it's very difficult to explain that at less than book length, but she really did. And when she passed, I had the only blockage of writer's block I ever had. 5 weeks I just couldn't write. The grief was too much. But ultimately I'm a writer, so I started writing again. And now we have Anna. She's been with us about 2.5 years, and she's a golden too, and however, they're two totally different personalities, both of them wonderful. They're just like people, except you don't tend to find two people in a row who have wonderful personalities, but it works with golden.
Now, do you write every day, regardless of whether you know what you're going to write? You just sit down with a pen in hand, or on your computer, or however you do that?
Yeah, I get up at 5:45 every morning, and by the time I walk the dog and got myself presentable, it's 7:30, and I'm at my desk, and I work straight through till dinner, and I usually do that 6 days a week. So
wow.
Some young writer said to me, I can only write when I'm inspired, and I said, sometimes you'll sit at the desk 4 or 5 hours, and you're not getting much of anything, and then all of a sudden it breaks, and you have a pretty good day. if you didn't sit there those 4 or 5 hours, you wouldn't have what was good that day.
Oh, that's great advice. That's fantastic. I don't write fiction. I write grants and things and that sort of thing. And I know that feeling of looking at the computer screen and nothing coming out. And you just, I'm just going to start writing something, and when it breaks loose, it'll break loose.
Yeah, and it usually always does. There's epic writer's block stories that some writers took years between books because they went into block. But thank God that hasn't happened to me. Although now that you've raised the issue, it probably will.
Oh, no! It's been my fault! No, please not.
Aaron has been known to do that
to us.
No, I'm just joking. Dean Koontz, it's been an honor and a privilege having you here on the KCAA Morning Show, and we really appreciate having you. We posted several links on our KCAA Radio Facebook page about the book 77 Shadow Street, and also DeanKoontz.com. We thank you so much for joining us. We thank you and your wife and your golden retriever, and we love to have you back again.
Anytime. You just let me know.
Thank you.
It's a great little group there. I like the show.
Thank you
so much.
You know what?
We really appreciate it.
And one last thing, I'm posting a link to the Trixie Who Is Dog iPad app because I think it's so adorable.
That is.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? They did a beautiful job with it.
Yeah, and Dean, you know, right before you go, if you ever want to do a thriller about a black guy in a wheelchair, just use me as the inspiration, okay?
Hey, Paul, don't scare him off, okay, please.
I won't, I promise. I promise. But, Dean, I'm just saying, if you need some inspiration, just look me up, okay?
Well, I did have a character in Odd Thomas who was black DJ, but he was blind, and he's being played in the movie by 50 Cent. So,
cool.
So I might get a character like you in it, and then if we make a movie, I'll come for you.
Oh,
that sounds good,
awesome.
Dean. Thank you so much, Dean. Have a great day, sir. We really appreciate having you, okay?
You too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
This is the KCAA Morning Show, the great Dean Koontz. Wonderful, wonderful person. And you make sure you check out his book, 77 Shadow Street. You know, and just reading some of the information about the book, Aaron, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I got to get this.
This would be a great movie. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, and this is the kind of book that you just fall into. So you start reading, and then everything around you disappears. I cannot wait to get into this book and take a little vacation in my head for a while.
And you know, Dean is cool, too. Dean said, he didn't say 50 Cent. He said 50 Cent.
He did say 50 Cent.
Dean got some street cred, John. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Dean got street cred. Hey, what we're going to do is make it like a tree and get out of here, get ready for our sports with Nicola Capria. After our sports, we'll have our high list, and we'll have a street cred lesson. Maybe John can be as cool as author Dean Koontz, and it just rolls out of the tongue. And Aaron, it was natural, wasn't it?
Yeah, he said 50 Cent. That was beautiful.
Yeah, okay. A New York Times best-selling author speaking street cred. Now, that is scary. Ooh, scary.
No, that is cool, John.
Okay.
One day you'll be like him. It's all yours, John.
I don't know, but I do know this. Currently 64 degrees in San Bernardino outside our Carousel Mall studios. In the Inland Empire today, sunny, high near 80. Tomorrow, Saturday, sunny, high near 73. Coming up in just a minute, the ski report followed by the sports report right here on the KCAA Morning Show on AM 1050 and KCAAradio.com.
Hey folks, Jerry Gussman here. It's a fact the economy is making it very difficult for families to keep up with their financial obligations. This past year, I have helped so many distressed homeowners that were behind on their mortgage payments avoid foreclosure, salvage their credit, and took away all the frustrations of dealing with their bank. If you're behind on your house payments, contact us today for a free consultation at 888-213-4208. Let us help you by providing the right information and guidance to achieve a real solution to your mortgage default. Refinance, loan modification, bankruptcy, short sale can all be alternatives. See which option is best for you. And our services are always free. You never pay anything. Take the first step to securing your family's future. Call me at 888-213-4208 or visit us online at www.thegussmangroup.com. The Gussman Group, we're Southern California's premier foreclosure prevention specialists.
Are you looking to turn your home into a secure income stream? Consider the home-based gift annuity offered by the University of California, Riverside. The UCR home-based gift annuity pays you income for life while you stay in your home for life. Here's how it works. You agree to donate your property to the university while retaining full control and the right to live in it for your lifetime. In return, you receive guaranteed life income in the form of a fixed annuity. Your annuity rate is based on your age and a portion of your home value. You'll also get a charitable deduction and ongoing tax savings. The UCR Home-Based Gift Annuity is backed by the Office of the President of the entire UC system. For more information, call the UCR Gift Planning Office at 877-249-0181. That's 877-249-0181.
Here's your latest ski report on 1050 KCAA. If it's a mountain high weekend for you, you have 27 runs today and 10 lifts. That's a machine-groomed and packed powder surface, 1 to 3 foot base. Other spots around Southern California, if your skis are waxed and you're headed for Snow Summit, you've got 27 trails there, 11 lifts, 2 to 3 foot base, and a machine-groomed and hard-packed surface. 1 to 1.5 feet of snowpack at Snow Valley, a machine-groomed and loose granular surface. 6 choices up and 9 back down. Burton Mountain Festival and protests going on this weekend at Mammoth Mountain. They'll give you 46 trails today and 17 rides up, a machine-groomed surface on just shy of 2 feet of snowpack there. Getaway to British Columbia, Whistler Blackcomb, plenty of choices, 200 trails. They've got 35 lifts. They've added a foot of new snow in the past couple of days. Heavenly, Lake Tahoe, over on Highway 50, they've got machine-made and machine-groomed surfaces, 21 lifts, 24 trails, and a ski party through April. That's the latest. I'm Jen Austin for 1050 KCAA.
KCAA, your local connection for news, traffic, weather, and sports. AM 1050, KCAA.
Welcome back to the KCAA Morning Show. I'm Paul Lane with Aaron Brinker. John Watanabe's in the house. But right now it's time for our KCAA Sports Summary with Nick LaCapria. Hey, Nick, Portland got something over the Lakers, don't they? I mean, what has it been, like 12 years since they won in Portland?
Absolutely, and I think the key last night, Paul, was simply that the Lakers ran out of gas, getting outscored in that third quarter by a margin that was not comfortable, 32-18, after the Lakers blow a 4-point lead at the half. Lakers again lose to Portland last night, 107-96. Wallace, the high scorer for the Blazers, with 31 points. While the Lakers did manage to get 21 out of Andrew Bynum, Kobe Bryant had 30 points with that wrist. Amazing. He's averaging better than 27 points a game since that wrist has been injured. But too little too late for the Lakers as the attendance was overwhelming. 20,444 up there. Big crowd last night. And, Paul, the Lakers just simply ran out of gas.
Yeah, in the words of the eloquent speaking Charles Barkley, the Lakers need to get more athletic. That's what they need to do, more athletic.
Athletic.
Well, hey, he enunciates, doesn't he? Huh?
Yeah, athletic.
Speaking of athletic, Charles has lost a little bit of weight. He's getting athletic himself.
He sure is. He's my inspiration because, I'm trying to drop the LBs this year, too, and maybe he can lose some weight and learn how to say athletic correctly.
Yeah, that's right. Lakers are going to have to learn how to be a little more athletic because tonight they got another game. They're going to host the Golden State Warriors. That's what it's like. I mean, Denver, you had one game in Denver. The very next day you're back in L.A. playing the same Denver time. We're talking about a consolidated NBA schedule, and it is just that. It is a war for some people. Meantime, NFL playoffs, they start tomorrow. Cincinnati Bengals will be in Houston to face the Oilers. That's the 1:30 game. The evening game, it's going to be Detroit taking on New Orleans in New Orleans at 5 o'clock. Sunday, Atlanta visits the Giants, and Pittsburgh is in Denver. Paul, what about the playoffs? Who do you see advancing?
I know. I guess we'll do our Super Bowl picks this morning, right? I'm going to say this. In the NFC, oh, man, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's going to be Green Bay, and I'll tell you why. In the NFC, because if Drew Brees and them advance to the NFC Championship game, they have to go to Lambeau Field when it's cold. And that's really going to negate some of their speed that they have. So, NFC, I'm going for Green Bay. Now, in the AFC, wow, this is wide open. But if I have to pick a team in the AFC, it won't be the Patriots. But
is that because you hate the Patriots?
Yes, I do. I with the passion. That Tom Brady is just too handsome, and he gets on my nerve. You know what? I would say in the AFC guys, I would have to go for. I'm going for the dark horse. I'm going to go for the Bengals. I think they'll run the table.
Cincinnati in the Super Bowl? Wow. You heard it right here. We're going to keep tabs. I'll have mine for you next week. Meantime, Aaron's happy because guess what's happening today? Game in Texas. College football. Arlington, Arkansas taking on Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl. Boy, these bowl games, they never go away. They're
endless.
Bowl on Sunday, BCS National Championship. What's that, Aaron?
They are endless.
Yeah, they just keep going. But finally Monday they wrap it up with the BCS National Championship. Now to look at the sports picture. We'll talk to you guys again on Monday. Till then, I'm Nick LaCapria with your KCAA Sports Summary on the KCAA Morning Show.
Thank you so much, John. Are you ready to do the work you love, make the money you deserve? Can you all say ka-ching and live the life of your dreams? If so, you want to listen to this next interview that we have. We're joined right now on the KCAA Morning Show. Joining us right now, I'm getting it together, guys, Lisa Marie Platsky. Lisa, how you doing there?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa. And you got a 4th annual Leadership Success Summit happening January 27th and 28th in Ontario, California. It's the 4th annual. It's the gateway to greatness. Let's talk about it.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm just really excited to be here, and I like that new word, athletic.
Charles Barkley, yes, the Hall of Famer himself, who paid all that money going to college. He says athletic. Yes, he does.
Well, I'm going to have to find ways to use that today because it'll just make me smile. So.
That sounds good. So, Lisa, let's talk about this conference and what it's all about.
Well, Leadership Success Summit, 4 years ago when I made the decision to do this, it was all about, how do you help people make more money? How do you help them do that without also, losing every other aspect of their life? So, it's amazing. There was a survey recently out about business owners, small business owners who questioned they were asked about their outlook on 2012, and only 40% came back and said that they were really optimistic about the new year. And I thought, 40%? Some people are saying, well, that's great, it's gone up. And I'm thinking, well, what about the other 60%? So Leadership Success Summit is a place where you get to walk away with a written plan, 10 pages of everything that you're going to accomplish, and you get the support to be able to help you do that.
And I recently closed my business, but I was a small business owner for many years, and there gets to be time. There are times when you're looking forward and things have been tough, and you don't have anyone that you can really lean on for that support. When you're employed by somebody else, there's generally a team of people that can help you. But when you are the owner of a small business and everybody's looking to you for leadership, it's tough sometimes to keep your head in a positive place.
Well, when you talk about that, people forget that, when you're working for a large organization, CEO is the chief executive officer. But when you're a small business, you're the chief everything officer.
It's true. It's true.
I love it, yes.
There's no one else. It's you. And
you're the accounting department and HR, and, you're everything.
Collections.
Yep. Yes, you're all that, exactly. And this conference is not only small business owners. There's a huge percentage of them because they come for that support, but there's also corporate executives. There's also people who are thinking about starting a business and leaving corporate America, a wide variety of individuals that actually travel. And while they're primarily from the area, we do get people who come from outside in other parts of the United States as well as internationally. And so it just becomes something where word of mouth, people travel in, and I think it's great for the Inland Empire.
So tell me let's talk about the individual sessions. Success session number 1 is purpose. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. That's about planning, and so we bring people in who've actually done that. From people who are self-made millionaires to people who have done this in their corporate lives, and really the clear plan and what that looks like. How do you make one? How is this going to keep me on track? All of that, and then the opportunity to do the work actually on spot versus leaving a conference and then being expected to do it once you've left. And then we have an expert coming in from Dallas, Texas, who has a personality. It's an assessment, and we're going to be doing that on site. And this is actually, once you have your great big plan, one of the things people don't realize is, you've got a personality, and it plays into how successful you're going to be. Not just introvert, extrovert, but how you like to do work, what motivates you, whether you're a big picture person or whether you like details. And some people get stuck with, coming up with a big idea. Some people get stuck actually doing the little things, the details to get them to where they want to go. So examining that, and that's really the biggest parts of the purpose piece.
Is that like a Myers-Briggs test? Oh, I'm sorry, John.
And, I've known some shy people who didn't even realize they had certain personality traits, and somebody had to inspire them and bring them out. So hopefully this workshop will...
Yeah, right.
I'm shy. And I had to be brought out, Lisa, so I'm really shy,
So
I can tell.
Is this like a Myers-Briggs test, or is it more in-depth than that?
No, it's a little bit more than that, and a bit more simpler to understand. The piece about it is the biggest focus on this is that a lot of people have skill sets that are acquired skills because someone says, well, you could do that. And there's a lot of things that you could do, but because you could doesn't mean you should.
Right.
And what will happen is, let's say you're incredible at something, and it's your natural talent, and you're so good at it, Aaron, and it's something that I've acquired. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted, and you've got lots of energy left, even if we both do a good job. That's the difference. And that's what most people don't understand. When you spend so much time in acquired skills, just because you excel at them doesn't mean it's where you should be spending your time and energy. And so, I even have a coaching client who we did this same assessment. She ended up looking at the skills. Everything she was using all day was acquired. And so by the weekends, she was done. She had no energy, and that's exactly why. And now as we've tweaked certain things, she's like a new person, traveling, spending time, working out, doing things she loves. So very interesting, just to look at the acquired versus the natural skill set.
That is fascinating.
Awesome.
So
It is.
I'm looking at your other sessions. You have perspective and process and, pretty much touching the whole...
spectrum of things.
Spectrum,
right?
Thank you. I'm a little inarticulate for a radio host here.
So Paul and Aaron are doing a switch today. Wow.
Yeah. So we're helping each other. We're doing the buddy system, right? And if you're just tuning in right now to the KCA Morning Show, we're talking to Lisa Marie Platsky. We're talking about a great new, not great new, but it's the 4th annual Leadership Success Summit in Ontario, California, January 27th. Through 28th, and some great things are going to happen there. Lisa is going to talk about a 7-step program that's known to work. And Lisa, our listeners out there who may be on the fence of whether they would like to attend or not, what can you do to get them off the fence and get them into that conference?
Well, I'm sure that you've heard of a little school called Harvard. Or
that tiny
possibly
school.
Just a little one,
little school. Well, when you go there and you actually get that, that MBA, that executive MBA, or your USC or your UCLA, whatever school's your favorite, the reality is that you're spending, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 oftentimes to do that for programs. And this gives you 2 days where you're going to walk away with contacts in, organizations that are small businesses to, your Fortune 500 companies. You're going to have contacts, to be able to connect with. In addition, you're going to have a plan for the next 12 months where you'll actually get to do it on the spot. All of the things that you would get in a master's program, you're going to get within these 2 days.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that the speakers that are coming in from these various areas in their individual areas of expertise are really the top in their field. And some of the people who are local also who are coming out to be panelists and participate. The reason why we get people who come year after year after year and about 50% of return individuals is because the content is just that good. I want people to leave with connections, more important than anything else, because that could be your next opportunity. That could be your next job. That could be your next. I've had people start businesses on the spot and then become successful, come back, stand on the stage and say, you know what, my business has done better than ever before, and here's the reason why. And here's why I'm sponsoring 2 people this year, because it's that good. So
well said.
If you want to go to a little school like Harvard or something like that to go through the whole program, but this will do that in just a weekend.
Well, Lisa, you had me at hello.
Well, amen to that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this really sounds intriguing and exciting. And if ones would like to attend, is there a cost involved? How can people sign up? Could you explain that to us?
There is. There's a website that'll share all of that, and the website is just the name of the event, so it's www.leadershipsuccesssummit.com, so spelled just the same way, LEADERSHIP, and then success, SUCCESS, and the word summit, SUMMIT.com. So leadershipsuccesssummit.com. And right now the ticket price is only $4.97, and you can bring a friend for $97. So if you split the cost, that means you can actually come for 2 days for less than $300.
Oh, that's excellent.
That is awesome. It is.
That is excellent.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's less pricey than that little school named Harvard, too.
Yes, it is. And Lisa Marie, you know what? Also, what we'd like for you to do is come back after the conference and the summit, and let's talk about some of the success stories of ones who really benefited from this 2-day event, this 4th Annual Leadership Success Summit in Ontario, California.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have posted a link on our KCAA Radio Facebook page, as we always do for our guests, so they can, if our listeners are not able to write down that URL, they can go to our KCAA Radio Facebook page and click directly from there.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a good one, Lisa Marie Platsky, and we wish you much success in this event, and look forward to hearing from you real soon.
Well, Paul, Aaron, John, wishing you all that is upside as well, and look forward to connecting sooner than later.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Good.
Thank you.
Let's all say it together. Ka-ching!
Yeah, ka-ching!
Yes, let's do that. We'll be back here on the KCAA Morning Show. We'll have our high list. John will get his street cred lesson on this Friday, and it has a little food tinge to it today, Aaron. So we're looking forward to that.
So we will discuss tender victuals, I presume.
Isn't that a cat food?
Yes, we will. Yeah, it is, wasn't it?
I think it's a cat food.
Well, I don't know, but I do know this. Currently 66 degrees in San Bernardino outside our Carousel Mall studios. Today in the Inland Empire, sunny, high near 80. Tomorrow, sunny, high near 73. And now, numbers of a different kind. Here's the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Jobs reports remain in focus. Investors looking to end this week on a strong note, and we're keeping an eye on commodity prices. Those stories next.
Jay Farner here. Happy New Year from Quicken Loans. Do you want to get a jump start on your finances for 2012? We close a majority of our home loans in 30 days or less, so you can purchase a new home or save money by refinancing and wrap up those New Year's resolutions in record time. Here's the best part. Interest rates are still historically low. The rate today on a 30-year fixed mortgage is an amazing 3.875%, APR 4.17%. And we're proud to announce that for the second year in a row, J.D. Power & Associates ranked Quicken Loans highest in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination in the United States. That rate again is 3.875%, APR 4.17%. Take a few minutes out of your busy day. Call Quicken Loans at 800-983-3022. That's 800-983-3022. Or go to quickenloans.com.
For J.D. Power & Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. Nationwide licensing number 3030.
Wall Street investors hoping to end the week higher. Stocks on track to post a better than 1% gain. Today, all eyes focusing on the government reports on non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate for the month of December. European Union reports on consumer confidence, retail sales, and the Eurozone's unemployment rate will also be of interest to investors. Those reports may also have some influence on the currency and commodity markets. Concerns over Europe's debt crisis leading to a big drop in the euro yesterday, leading to a fourth straight gain in gold prices. Prices yesterday up to more than $1,600 $20 an ounce. And keep an eye on the shares of Alcoa. Alcoa late yesterday announced plans to cut its global smelting capacity by 12% in reaction to falling aluminum prices. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
KCAA, the Inland Talk Express, presents Cal State San Bernardino basketball. This Friday night, January 6th at 7:30, the Coyotes battle Chico State University. Live from Acker Gymnasium in Chico. I'm Mitch McClellan. Join Brett Malik and me as the Coyotes meet the Wildcats in a CCAA conference game. Cal State San Bernardino basketball broadcasts are brought to you by Stater Brothers, The Days Inn San Bernardino, Office Max, Anheuser-Busch, Hyatt Place, Ontario Mills, Baker's Drive-Thru Restaurants, Breakmasters, Fairfield Inn and Suites San Bernardino, Coca-Cola, Juan Pollo Restaurants, Country Inn and Suites Ontario Mills, and the Coyote Athletic Foundation. That's Cal State San Bernardino basketball action this Friday night at 7:30, live from Chico on your home for Coyote basketball, KCAA 1050 AM, the Inland Talk Express.
The other station claims to be local. Since when is Glendale local? KCAA News Talk 1050, your true local station.
Welcome back to the KCAA Morning Show, and I promise we will get into the 80s and 90s and the year 2000 decade music on some of these coming back breaks. I promise you one day. John, what's so significant about this song right here?
Well, hey, remember, we are the...
thinking about
Paul,
malts and soda shops and everything.
Exactly. We are the station that leaves no listener behind. That includes lovers of 1950s and 60s rock and roll music, which Aaron Brinker is...
fun!
Yes, exactly.
Almost some 50 Cent.
Yeah.
He's a little raunchy. Just saying.
Yes.
Just a little.
Anyway,
Just a little.
Anyway, kids, settle down. I thought I'd feature this song. It was back on this day, January 6th, in the year 1958, when this song was #1 on the Billboard Popular Music chart, Danny and the Juniors at the Hop. And we have a radio show that will make you feel like you're at the sock hop every weekend. Listen to the Horace Wink Show every Sunday at 5 p.m. right here on KCAA.
All right, gang, before we bring on our high list and find out about Darth Vader attacking a cop and car lands on a roof in California and a man arrested for pawning goods from a home he was house sitting, we're going to have a street lesson with John Watanabe today. John Watanabe?
Yeesh.
All right, here we go. We're going to talk about a particular food right now.
Nice delicacy, if you will, I presume.
Yes. We're going to talk about shrimp, okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, John, if you are east of the Mississippi and if you're from the hood, you will say scrimp, okay? Can you say that? Scrimp.
Shrimp?
No, scrimp.
Okay, how do you... I believe you spell that in your tongue. S-K? You would spell it with an S.
R-I-M-P and put an S on the scrimps.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
No, hold on, John.
Yes?
But now, if you are west of the Mississippi now, like in our neck of the woods, you say strimps.
Strimps?
Strimps.
Yeah. S-T-R-I-M-P-S, strimps. So, west of the Mississippi, strimps. East of the Mississippi, scrimps.
Okay, wait. In order to execute this form of native tongue of yours, Mr. P. Dog, I must add the missing ingredient. Hold on.
Look at John on our KCA Internet Television. He's shaking his hand, getting into his element. I gotta get you a hat too, John.
Yes. I'm waving my hands in the air as if I did not care.
Or as if your shirt was on fire. One or the other.
Anyway. Okay, dogs. Here we go. Yo. All my homies in Harlem, give me some scrimp. Yo. And to all my brothers and sisters in Compton, give me some strimps. Yo.
John, you getting there, man.
Woo! But you always sound angry. You're just one ticked off dude.
Yeah, and John, not all brothers are ticked off, but I tell you somebody who is ticked off, and he's on a high list. Hit it, John.
Yes.
At least I'm not a timid, domesticated, castrated, soul-sucked zombie.
He's ticked off, too.
Yeah, perpetually.
And Aaron Brinker, we call it the high list because...
You have to be high or bat crap crazy to do this stuff.
Luke. I am your father.
The force doesn't appear to be with one Florida man. According to ClickOrlando.com, Michael Cole was wearing a Darth Vader mask when he allegedly attacked a Florida Highway Patrol officer. Authorities were called in early Thursday morning because a reportedly intoxicated Cole was walking in the middle of the road. Officers told him to get out of the street, but Cole cursed at the authorities and laid in the road.
Bring me my shuttle.
He then attempted to punch and kick an officer. He was shot with a taser. Unfortunately, Cole was wearing a thick jacket which blocked the taser, so authorities had to use pepper spray to subdue him. Cole was subsequently booked into the Orange County Jail, where he is facing felony charges of resisting arrest and battery on an officer.
And Aaron, he's in our studio right now. Can you hear him?
Call me master. Let's go to Cali, guys. West Side.
Yes.
What's up next, John?
Well, headline reads, car lands on roof in California.
Go!
A towing company in Fresno, California was forced to break out its biggest rig to tackle a unique call this week. According to the Fresno Bee, Action Towing received a request from police early Wednesday morning asking them to help get a car off the roof of an apartment complex. Police say the driver lost control of his vehicle and somehow launched himself onto the building, supposedly thanks in part to a group of large landscaping rocks nearby. The driver reportedly broke his leg in the accident, but the family in the apartment he landed on was uninjured. Action Towing says it ultimately took them 3 hours to get the car back on the ground.
Wow, that sounds like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Just the good old boys. Never meaning no. And Aaron, you know what'd be cool?
What?
Me wearing some Daisy Dukes.
Oh. You look like that guy. What was that show? It was a make-fun cop show that was on Comedy Central.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Reno. The guy with those little shorts.
Kick those daisies. Look at those girls with Daisy Dukes on. Hey, John.
Yes?
You know what? Something tells me that Aaron's going to tell us about a man who was arrested for pawning something. Did I predict that correctly?
Yeah, this guy was definitely not a Pawn Star. A Florida homeowner will likely be looking for a new house sitter for his next vacation. According to News Press, police arrested Brian Arbo earlier this week after he allegedly pawned more than $10,000 worth of items from the home he was supposed to be watching. Investigators eventually learned that Arbo had been pawning goods from the house for months, something the owner told police the suspect did not have permission to do.
No.
Really? Arbo is now facing a number of charges, including grand theft, dealing in stolen property, and fraud.
Yeah, that's the key. The owner told police the suspect did not have permission to do it, and then watched the suspect go, but he said it was okay for me to do it.
Yeah, and for you to take his stuff and pawn it and keep the money, I'm sure he told you that was all right.
Oh, sure.
Yes, tell me about it. Hey, and we thank everyone for tuning in today on our KCAA Morning Show. Our great guest, author Dean Koontz. If you missed his interview, you can podcast it on the KCARadio.com. Also, Lisa Marie Platsky talking about a great event happening in Ontario later on this month. We'll be talking more and more about it. And next week, guys, I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada, broadcasting live at the Consumer Electronics Show when Aaron and John are stuck in San Bernardino.
Yeah, rub it in.
I wanted them to come. Hey, but we're going to have some great tech news. We'll take your questions, your calls. Some great things coming out of there. You don't want to miss that. We'll have some fun. And a very special Las Vegas high list. Maybe we'll have Elvis on with us there in the high list. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, bring the peanut butter and banana sandwiches then, okay?
Yes.
Have them ready.
And Aaron, you have a great weekend. John, you do the same. Say goodbye, Aaron.
Goodbye, Aaron.
John Watanabe.
Yeesh.
Say konnichiwa.
I don't know, but I do know this. Currently 67 degrees in San Bernardino outside our Carousel Mall studios. You keep looking forward and upward, and you keep it right here on your home for Cal State San Bernardino Coyotes basketball. And our live coverage of today's doubleheader, live from Chico, starts at 5:30 p.m. right here on AM 1050 and KCAARadio.com.